Look, there's loads of fake reviews out there, bots kind of generating these reviews. You've got the likes of AI now starting to impersonate UGC creators, which is obviously an evolving issue at the moment. And Google shopping space, let's say you kind of go on there these days and it's just overflooded with Shein and Temu, and it creates no space for the small guys to actually really make some noise in that conversion space. So there's a lot of kind of data that backs that up. On Trust Mary, they say that it can increase conversions by up to 80% being in video format rather than written format in a review. So for us, it's all about how can we onboard brands fast and scale quick. And the way to do that is a free-to-use platform. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. It's always going to be an option to have it for free and just have a commission rate.
How's it going, Zach? Amazing having you on the show.
Thanks, Brad. How you doing? You doing all right?
I'm doing all right. And it's a happy, slow day. It might rain, actually. So this will be a fun, happy conversation. Looking forward to this.
Looking forward to it as well, man. It's been good connecting. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yes. What you're doing is actually very interesting with CartReel. And so I would want you to kind of introduce yourself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So essentially what we're doing at CartReel, I worked at home shows for a long time, so trade shows and whatnot across New Zealand and Australia and the UK. Really kind of fell in love with consumer behavior and how people act around a high pressure sales environment. I guess it really kind of got me interested in how we can actually replicate that in an online sense in the online shopping world, which obviously works so differently to face. And then as I kind of thought about this idea and thought about how I could kind of bring it to life, I started to kind of really uncover all these problems that were happening in the online space, particularly with trust barriers and people not really trusting the online space like they used to. And this especially kind of ramped up, I guess, post-COVID. Sure. A lot of people kind of started to realize, look, there's loads of fake reviews out there, bots kind of generating these reviews. You've got the likes of AI now starting to impersonate UGC creators, which is obviously an evolving issue at the moment. And also just a bunch of, influencers and stuff like that pushing out products and paid partnerships with products that maybe they don't actually believe in themselves. And this kind of poses the question of, what can we trust online? Who can we trust? What brands can we trust? And it made it really hard for especially the smaller brands, ones that weren't really known by people. Because, obviously if you're shopping on Nike, you trust it, you trust Nike. But, if you're shopping on a smaller boutique brand from a local business or from a business that's overseas, but maybe nearby to your country, then that trust barrier becomes a real issue. So essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to squash that problem. And the solution for that is obviously social proof and making it as authentic as possible. Essentially what CartReel does is it connects brands and shoppers in a trusted environment. And we're aiming to basically be the marketplace where you can come as a trusted source, where you know that the products on there are good quality, all the reviews are fully authentic because we vet them and we socially vet them through other users as well. So you can just shop with the happiness of knowing that whatever you buy is going to be fit for purpose, relatively good quality at least, if not amazing quality. And also, it's going to be exactly how you expect it to be when it turns up. That's essentially us in a nutshell. But yeah, just ask me any questions you want, man. Like I'm keen to rip into it.
Very interesting, because I think, as you mentioned, especially for the smaller companies, it must be so important to get repeat orders, and reviews help with that so much. Social proofing, testimonials, all of that helps so much.
Yeah.
So this insight is really helpful, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one as well. Like you obviously talk about the smaller guys. Like there's a lot of things that we've uncovered with them as well as far as issues that they're facing. One of the other bigger kind of issues that we see as well is the likes of big companies kind of outbidding these smaller companies, and as far as like customer acquisition costs come along, in the Google shopping space, let's say you kind of go on there these days and it's just overflooded with Shein and Temu, and it creates no space for the smaller guys to actually really make some noise in that conversion space. So I guess another thing that we're solving for them as well is like, hey, look, come to us, and it's kind of an even playing field. It doesn't matter how much money you have behind you, as long as you have good quality products, you're going to shine. So it kind of puts that quality above having money behind you as a business, as from a brand's perspective. So, and it also makes it better for shoppers as well, because it's like, hey, look, I'm actually going to be able to find some cool independent brands that actually do some good quality stuff. I'm not going to be buying this trash stuff off of these kind of big consumer brands, that don't really care too much about quality. So so that's the other cool side about it as well for the smaller guys.
Especially after COVID, with content consumption just increasing to such levels. And just people's, I think, just dopamine thresholds are just so high now. Yeah. So it's in a way very difficult to stand out, and it's a very great way to do it, which is just actual people giving reviews for the products. How did you
Yeah.
actually like decide on this specific problem statement and continuing to create something in it?
So we did a lot of early testing. So I kind of, when I came up with the idea and it kind of started to come down to, hey, look, I think, Reels is a good way to go because Reels became this big technology that happened during when I had the idea. So the idea happened in 2020. So obviously TikTok wasn't massive back then. It started to become big. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, it's going to have to be in a reel format where, people can really connect to video as opposed to static. And, there's a lot of kind of data that backs that up. On Trust Mary, they say that it can increase conversions by up to 80% being in video format rather than written format in a review. So that was really important to us, is to put it in video because it's more trustworthy as well. So just banging home that authenticity. But yeah, on top of that as well, just for us, it was like, hey, look, how can we actually develop it in a way that's going to suit the current needs of people? So Reels was just a no-brainer in that sense. And then as far as what kind of other benefits and features that we wanted to have on the app, it was more just about surveying. Like I said before, it was going out to market, talking to people, putting up surveys online and getting people to take it. And people have come back and it's pretty obvious what people want. They want good value for money. That's what everyone wants. But people are really begging out for good quality. They're begging out to find smaller brands that are really hard to find in the current landscape. And they're really, really keen to support local businesses as well where they can, as long as they're not, feeling like they're getting ripped off by them. So for us, it's all about, making that connection, because at the moment it just seems like it's lacking. There's nothing really out there, especially here. And I know in the NZ market, obviously being here, I know that that's an issue. And I'm sure it's an issue in a lot of other markets as well. But that's something that we'll test when we get there. So.
Totally, yeah. The Indian startup ecosystem itself is kind of new and it's evolving fast, very fast actually. So, yes, something like this is essential in a growing market, especially because if you have lots of bad players entering the market, especially in a time when everyone is promisingly looking ahead to newer products, and you get lots of, just con men and charlatans, then it becomes really tough.
Yeah, exactly.
For just consumers to get interested in the industry itself. It has happened with quite some industries actually. Maybe with crypto, we can say to a level it has happened worldwide.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's going to become things that we just see popping up in a lot of industries. Like obviously I picked e-commerce just because of my background, but I think that we'll find other kind of companies going out with a relatively similar model to what we're doing in a sense, just to kind of gain trust in the market, just because, like you say, there's just been so many bad mishaps that have been happening out there for a lot of people. And, I speak to people on the daily that have had some sort of bad experience, whether that be fully being scammed and nothing turning up, or buying something. Like I've had a lot of experience buying things on social media and then it shows up and it's like meant to be a double XL and it looks like an extra small on me, and I'm I'm not looking good. So there's all these kind of poor experiences that are happening, and everyone's kind of had them. So for me, it's about trying to service that and being like, hey, look, like we're going to be the champions for you guys and be here for you guys. And I literally had like a conversation yesterday with a guy that I haven't talked to since 2020, and I told him what I'm doing, and he was like, mate, this is amazing. It's a revelation for a lot of shoppers. I don't know if you've seen too much about Flipshop, but they're like a similar kind of thing over in the US. It's a pretty proven method. And they're doing really, really well over there. So for us, it's all about how can we tackle the market here in New Zealand and Australia. We do things a little bit differently to them on how we rank with authenticity, which we believe is better, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, to be honest, like it's about how can we kind of solve this issue in our market. So we're in here in New Zealand and Australia. Then we're going to look to extend across overseas to other markets as well. So just try, solve it for everyone, hopefully, and become worldwide.
Yeah. I would like to know your opinion on this and how you're looking at your moat in this space. Because don't you feel Instagram and TikTok should be already doing this? I'm sure there's TikTok Shop as well, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like the thing that I think stops a lot of other social commerce kind of platforms doing it is they're very revenue focused. It doesn't necessarily put a lens on revenue only. We're trying to create a platform that is a win for everyone. It's not just a win for the guys whose pockets it fills up, you know what I'm saying? So I think that that's probably one of the big barriers that they face, and also one of the big barriers they face as well is being public companies. They can't move quick. They're not very agile. So, they're slow to implement things. Even if they wanted to do it, it might take a few years to do it. So that's the kind of competitive advantage we have at the moment is we're super agile. We're a startup. We're in the early stages. So for us, we can kind of dip and dive and just move the way the consumers and the brands need us to move to make it work. So yeah, that's what I'd say is our strength right now and what helps.
Makes sense. Another thing that comes to mind is they are making money by selling the ad spots to people, just lots of people. Whereas
exactly.
what you're trying to do is actually getting sales up for those products, for
Yeah,
those brands. That
yeah,
helps.
yeah,
And that's kind
exactly.
of like the main differentiation. Right?
Yeah, and obviously it has a whole bunch of knock-on effects as well. Like when you look at it from a brand perspective, because obviously in this conversation will kind of be it's going to be hard to follow for a lot of people because obviously we're talking shoppers and we're talking brands because it's a marketplace, of course. So there's two kind of sets of customers. As far as brands are concerned, it obviously squashes a whole lot of problems for them as well. Like we've already said, exposure for the smaller brands, but even just rising acquisition costs for any brand, it's going to just complete. It's free to use. It's just a commission fee. So for them, it's completely risk free. It's a bit of a
Right,
no
right.
brainer. As far as I'm concerned as well, it's going to help with abandoned cart rates, obviously, because you're getting the social proof in this, the trust is being built, and also for return rates as well, which is obviously a huge issue for brands and a pretty costly issue. And obviously, if people can see a brand in video format, they can see that it's proven by the people, and so they're going to get a better experience overall. They're far less likely to actually return the product at the end of it as well. So that's the big kind of things that we're kind of tackling in
Right.
that space as well. And as you mentioned early on, too, retention and loyalty. We have a big focus on rewarding and the way that we reward shoppers. So it's going to help retain people. People are going to enjoy using the
Right.
app. They can make money on the app. And that's coming back to that conversation, like I said before, making it a win-win-win. Like we want to win, obviously, but we also want our brands to win and we want our shoppers to win. And we want everyone to be able to make money and save money. That's essentially the middle ground that we found with everyone. Everyone wants to save money. Everyone wants to make money. It's just the way that it is. And obviously, everyone wants to be trusted or have trust in what they're buying, right? So those are kind of the three focuses for us: is making money, saving money, and building trust. So if we can do that, then we'll win, and they'll win, and also, the brands will win, the shoppers will win. So yes,
I was coming to that, the real rewards things. So I'll
yeah.
come to that. But before that, I would want to know, like, how did you get to this confident statement, Zach, which is we work on a no sales model, which is no fee basis. It's just commissions, right?
Yeah, so I mean that's what I worked on when I was at home shows. That's how I worked. It was all commission only. It's not easy. It's something that teaches you a lot as far as you got to put in the work to get the output. You put in the input and get the output. And I think that as far as brands are concerned, if you're an early stage marketplace like us, why would they put money into it if we have limited number of shoppers at the moment and we're still building that side of the business?
Right.
Obviously our business works on a network effect. Like we need people to be using it. We need people to be leaving reviews. We need brands to be hopping on board so there's enough content for shoppers to look through. So for us, it's all about how can we onboard brands fast and scale quick. And the way to do that is a free-to-use platform. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. It's always going to be an option to have it for free and just have a commission rate. And then obviously as we kind of work through and we get further into the business, we'll just chuck in loads of cool features and benefits for brands where they can actually have a subscription and they can actually tap into some more in-depth insights and some cool kind of benefits, I guess, on their side as far as connecting with good people. So that's kind of the way that we're looking at kind of implementing it into the future and our vision for it on the brand side. And same on the shopper side, really. It's always going to be free to use for them as well. There'll always be a free option, but we will probably implement some sort of paid model for AI in the future because we probably see ourselves doing something in the realm of AI agent and like having shopping assistants and things like that as an option, not making that the sole focus of it because we feel like not everyone's going to be down that alleyway and that way inclined because some people like the act of shopping, they enjoy shopping, but you've obviously got a premium audience out there that would normally pay a human to go shopping for them in real life. So why not make something like that in an online sense as well? So that's where I see the vision going in that sense too.
Very interesting. In terms of the rewarding that we were talking about, tell us about the real rewards things.
Yeah, totally. So, we're still kind of firming up what we're going to do as a bit of a commission rate for that. But essentially the way that it works is as a shopper, if you leave a video review on the app, which can only be done if you've purchased something. So we're making sure, as I said, keeping authenticity at the core of it. So you have to have purchased the product to be able to leave the review. You can put a review up that's up to 1 minute. And then basically if any shopper then comes onto the app and comes through your review, you then get a kickback or a commission for that as well. So everyday people, you don't have to be an influencer, you don't have to have a following or anything like that. Everyday people can make money on this. On top of that as well, there's a kind of an argument that comes into play there. People go, oh, cool, well, but if you're paying people for these reviews, if they come through them and if they sell on them, then how is that authentic, right? So that's when we kind of pulled in this new model, and it's a new way of thinking, something that's not been done yet from what I've seen. But essentially, it's a social vetting model. So if you, as Brad, buy something on the app, you leave a review, I buy the same thing on the app, and I don't think it's very good, but you've put in this amazing review, then I can downvote your review, and I can say, hey, Brad, don't think it's true. I can downvote your review. And then we get the socially vetted system where basically the best reviews or the most authentic reviews will rise to the top because people will be upvoting those. And then those people obviously then get better kickbacks because they're more authentic and they've come to the top. So that's essentially the way that the review side of it works and the authenticity side of it works, which is pretty cool. And we're really, really excited to implement that and see how it works.
Very interesting strategy to think about, which is, you're just incentivizing authenticity in a social way. So
yeah,
I'm sure that will help.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, let the people speak, let the people speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's what I was coming to as well, which is how do you, scalably check for authenticity? And you've answered that already.
Yeah. So that's kind of the key thing is the social vetting. Obviously, we'll have reporting in there as well. So if we feel like something's like fully, like a brand will be able to like report a review if they feel like it's completely defamating their brand. But then obviously we'll look into that. We'll look into why that's happened. We'd contact that shopper. We'd resolve that. So we'd be able to say, okay, cool, like there's a reason why this has happened. Or if there's not a reason, if it's just a competition and they bought the product just to defamate it, then obviously then we just take it off. But if there is a real reason behind that review and there is a real reason why there's an issue that's arisen, then obviously that'll have to get solved with us in that as well. So there'll be all sorts of kind of systems in place to make sure that everything stays true and everything stays authentic.
There's this line on the website that's very interesting, which is, will we normalizing free returns on a marketplace? Tell us about this.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously one of the key issues that we're trying to solve for brands is abandoned cart rates. So for us, it was like, we're not going to try and solve abandoned cart rates by putting social proof in the shopping flow just to have paid shipping at the end of it, because that's one of the key contributors to abandoned cart rates. So for us, it was kind of like, that doesn't really align with our brand. So we're only taking on brands that have enough margin to basically go, hey, cool, we'll put our hand up and we'll just cop the shipping. And I mean, there's all kinds of ways that we can go in the future with this. Like, I don't know if you've seen Jackson on LinkedIn at all, the founder of Mateship.
Nope.
So that's like a shopping app that basically helps pull in loads of people that are in the same area, and then they get free shipping because the average order value goes up and the free shipping comes. So there's ways that we could look at partnering with people like that in the future to help the brands out. But at this stage, it all works with the margins at the end of the day. Like, if you're in basically fashion, health, or beauty, our success fee and free shipping shouldn't be an issue.
I mean, the industries that you mentioned, they have huge margins. So it makes sense. If anything, it will be helpful for them with the easy returns, right? Free returns.
Yeah, massively. And I mean, I think about 60 to 70% of the brands we've already onboarded already had free shipping anyway. So for us, it was kind of like, for them, it's a no-brainer. Like they're already doing it. But for some of them, it was kind of like, let me sit down, let me work it out. And, it just means that there might not be products on there to begin with when we first start that are kind of lower than that kind of $20 or $50 mark, just because obviously then the margin might be lower. Right. But like I said, there's solutions for us to look at in the future to kind of push that out in a more sustainable way for brands.
Very interesting, which is this thing about abandoned carts. So even on something as simple as an Amazon, I'll have probably some 30, 40 items on my Amazon. And I just haven't ordered them. It's just on my cart sitting right there. And it's interesting how we do it as consumers. But from your perspective, what's your insight on generally, if you have to give an insight on just reducing abandoned cart rates, how would you do it?
I think it all comes down to a few things, right? Like there's always loads of factors. I mean, the key ones for me, number one's trust, and that's what we're trying to solve. And I think another one is leaving because they need more information than what's been provided. And so that's another one that we're trying to solve, obviously. So, for example, I've surveyed lots of people, and a lot of people sit in the same boat as me. They'll see a product, let's say on Amazon or let's say on social media. Then they go, okay, cool, let's copy that title of that product's name, and then I paste it into YouTube or TikTok with review on the end of it, and try to find some real person just talking about how they've bought the product and how it's worked for them, if it's good or if it's not, pros and cons, So that's an abandoned cart there, but they might come back straight afterwards if it's all good, but they might not, So for us, it's kind of like, let's get it all under one roof and just kind of mitigate that, obviously we have poor attention spans these days. So for us, it's like, let's keep the attention in one app. Let's make sure shoppers go from discovering the product, getting that social proof that they need and that extra information, and then being able to buy it straight on the spot and not losing the impulse in that cycle, because obviously if I'm going over to TikTok, if I'm going over to YouTube, I'm losing that impulse, right? And then I might get distracted by my phone calling, or I might get a notification on another app, and then I click into another app, and then suddenly I've just completely forgotten that I'm trying to buy this thing, right? So it's making it easier for shoppers, it's making it a better experience for them, but it's also making it far better for brands because you're not losing people as easily. Obviously, another factor as well could be just that they're not ready to buy yet. It might be that you're actually just more in the consideration phase and you're just putting it there for later. And that's something that you'll never really be able to change, only through impulse. And that's something that we'll probably be working on in the future, where if people put it into their cart on CartReel and they leave it, obviously we'll have like push notifications because it's an app. You'll be able to get a push notification, hey, have you forgotten about this? And obviously email notifications, all that kind of stuff that we kind of see in the e-commerce world already. We'll be having obviously all those best practices in place as well.
Sure. That's great. That's actually pretty great. And you're right. I mean, urgency, trust, and more information. All of these are true factors. And I mean, out of the 40 items, 35 are because of only these 3 reasons. So yeah, it's very interesting. And especially when it comes to CartReel as an app, as like an end-to-end app for commerce, I would like to know how you are thinking of working out the network effects, as you mentioned. How are you planning to just explode it?
Yeah, so I've been kind of toying around with some ideas recently. I haven't really gone to market to survey these yet, so they need to be surveyed to kind of actually validate them. So the kind of key one that we've thought about so far is partnering up with a few kind of micro influencers or macro influencers. So no one too big, but people that have influence with a kind of really tight-knit community, especially in the verticals that we're trying to tackle. So those kind of 3 key ones, like I said, beauty, fashion, and health verticals. So we'd try to kind of tackle them with these influencers. We'd give them more kickbacks than the general kickbacks that we'd give on CartReel. And that way they can kind of get products dropped to them from our brands, and then they'll be able to stretch it across their social medias and pull people in. So that's essentially how we're going to try to get more and more shoppers on board for a low cost. It's going to obviously work out for us, it'll work out for shoppers, it'll work out for the influencers because they'll get really good kickbacks on those, and that's lifetime value. It's not like a one-off payment, they'll be paid for the next possible 10 years, 20 years, So that's the cool thing about it. But on top of that as well, it just means that we can actually build up a little bit more of a bank of the reviews as well, because obviously that's going to be one of the biggest teething issues for us. It's not like a normal marketplace where it's like the only things you have to think about is having brands and shoppers, which is already hard enough. We've got this whole added element of having all these video reviews as well that we need to have in there for a user to have the full experience. So for us, it's about getting those on there early as possible, which we'll have to engage either people we know, or it might have to be micro and macro influencers. We go, cool, we're going to drop you some product and we'll pay for it as the app. We'll pay our brands for it. And then we'll basically just push it out to these people and then they can review it.
That's great. And yeah, it's a good strategy, and it is a teething problem, as you mentioned, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. But what's really
it's one of those ones that's fun to figure out, That's what it's all about, man. It's all about problem solving. So
part of the game.
Yeah, 100%.
What's very kind of challenging is probably not the word, but intriguing in a way, is how you will handle this context of influencers or people reviewing the products, which is, let's say if I'm there and I'm not I don't know, maybe I'm an influencer, but okay, let me not call myself an influencer. So I'm just a normal person. Then there's a micro influencer with, let's say, 50,000 followers, right? And then there comes an MKBHD. And so will you want an MKBHD on your app, firstly?
Sorry, just repeat that again.
So for example, there's me at like very less followers. So like just like any other person. So I'll have authentic reviews for sure. Then there's someone with 50,000 followers, let's say a tech reviewer. So some tech products, and that person will review and put it on CartReel. Then there's people like Mr. Who's the Boss or MKBHD, the top tech YouTubers. And they might want to be on the website as well. So do you want those people on the website?
Yeah, like I'm happy for anyone to be on the website at the end of the day. Like I don't think it's an issue. Like as long as they're being authentic, it's fine, right? Like I don't mind if I don't care who you are, as long as you're being true. That's as I said, that's the core of it. It's just we want people to be talking the absolute truth, and like the brands that we're bringing on board, they shouldn't be afraid that people are going to speak the truth, because they should be serving quality products, number one, because that's the whole point. We don't want brands to be on there that don't serve that, and that's the whole reason for doing this, is it's going to be a place where you can rest assured that it's going to be good quality. But number two, it's going to be good feedback for them, because obviously if they're giving a quality product, it should be mainly positive, but there might be a couple of negatives in there, and they know what they need to work on. And so, it's really good feedback and good surveying for brands as well. So that's the key for us, sorry. And so it doesn't matter who you are. We don't care if you're famous or not. It should be a level playing field for everyone.
No, the reason why I asked you this is because, for example, if I'm one of the biggest tech YouTubers in the world and I have a review that I've put up on CartReel's website, it's very few people who I think who will actually downvote me. Maybe it's just a hunch I'm taking. Because I speak of credibility so much in so many other brand touch points on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter. And so don't you think they will kind of have a huge barraging effect with them when they are doing some review? And it can be potentially difficult, right? to fill
Yeah,
up their authenticity?
it will be an interesting one to see how it plays out. It's not something that flip shops had an issue with, and obviously they're in America, which is a huge market for influencers. So I don't really see it being an issue just because of
That makes sense.
the proven track record from them. But if it does become an issue, it's something that we'll definitely be able to cross the bridge of. We'll definitely be able to sort it out. There'll be a way, don't worry. Yeah, like I said, it's one of those things where we're happy to solve problems, man. It's what we do for bread and butter. So yeah, it'll be good fun.
Good fun for sure, because the niche that you've chosen and this entire idea of video and commerce, it's very new in a way, and I'm sure it'll have its other innovations in logistics as well, in packaging and so many other fields, right?
Yeah.
How are you seeing AI in this? AI adoption in this?
Yeah, so we already have machine learning in it. So essentially, it's going to be recommending products that are more likely to be bought by you, curated kind of feeds for people. So the algorithms are going to be all in there, similar to kind of TikTok, in the way that it's done for you. But we will, like I say, we want to kind of really be exploring groundbreaking AI. So like in the future, when we do have a full dev team, and we can actually be a bit more aggressive on that side. Like I said, AI agents is definitely a thing that I really want to look at doing and implementing for basically premium subscriptions for shoppers. So there'll be kind of more the upper class shoppers that actually don't enjoy the act of shopping. They just know what they want and they want what they want. And we'll have AI agents that they can basically tap into that will know exactly what kind of things they buy, know exactly their looks that they shop for, and it will basically just recommend, hey, look, here's a whole outfit I've picked out for you, or here's a whole bunch of things I've picked out for you for your home. Do you want to buy them with one push of a button kind of thing? And then they can just purchase it on the spot and it gets sent out to them. So that's kind of the way that I see that side of it going. And like I said, it's not going to be something that we implement across the whole app for everyone, because I don't think it is for everyone. I think there's a lot of people that enjoy the act of online shopping, actually, get a good buzz from it. They feel good after it, and we want to keep that side of it, and we want people to still be able to shop like a normal person. But we do think that there is a market for that as well, where we could penetrate with some sort of paid subscription for some AI capabilities.
Sure.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Towards the end, Zach, is there a fun e-commerce insight that you can give us?
Fun e-commerce insight that I could give you. Here's a quick one. I mean, as I said before, it's 80% more chance of converting with video over written. But on top of it as well, if you put UGC or user-generated reviews within a shopping flow, you'll increase conversions by over 10%, as according to Salesforce. Who knows what ours is going to be? It's going to be interesting to see what the stats is, but I'm expecting it to be over that 90% mark. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but yeah, man, there's so many things stored up in e-commerce, and it's a big space. There's lots going on. There's a lot of buzz around it. There's a lot of buzz around social commerce. So it'll be interesting to see how people start to adopt what we're building.
And that's the final question as well. What's your ambition with this video commerce, and where do you see this going?
So as I said, I see it going global. I see us as being like a household name. Like I want us to be the place where people go, if I want to buy something that I know is going to work, I go to CartReel. That's what I want people to think. That's where I want the brand to sit. So that's where I see it going. I'd like to get into international markets in the next 2 to 3 years. And that's kind of where I see the vision at. And as far as products concerned, I see us landing in a place where people have full social capabilities on the product. So, if I like a product and I'm mates with you on CartReel, then I can send you that product and I can be like, Brad, check this out. I think you'd like it. And then you can obviously buy that, and then I might get a kickback from that. And then, there'll be all sorts of, I'll have like my own dream board of like gift ideas that people can buy for me. And then that way, when my birthday rocks around, I can give certain people access to that. And then that way they can tick off presents for me, and it gets sent to my doorstep with a note on it from you, to me. And things like that as well, things that we're already seeing in the e-commerce world. We want to bring it all under one roof. People can really just have these really bespoke and amazing experiences and just connect with other people and have fun shopping online, essentially. That's what we want to be. We just want to be the fun place to shop and the most trusted place to shop.
That's amazing. And sure, I mean, it's very interesting, right? Because over all these years, I think we've just relied on creating, value, showcasing it, communicating it. But now we're actually incentivizing actual action, actual commerce. And no wonder CAC is increasing. Of course, if everyone is telling you that here's fragrance 1, that's amazing. Fragrance 2, that's world class. Fragrance 3, that's the best. Well, I mean, what? Isn't it the same thing? And so when you incentivize experiences, I'm sure this will just explode the entire world of e-commerce. And I'm looking forward to that, man. Looking forward to CartReel becoming a household name.
It's going to be one hell of a ride.
Absolutely. All the very best, and super thanks for being on the show. Really loved it. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much for inviting me over. Appreciate it.
Amazing. See ya.
See ya.